Welcome back to Inside the Box. I'm your host, Joanna Lee, and counting down to Asian Heritage Month, we are in the third episode of the Classical Music Edition series. Today's guest is a wonderful individual and musician. He's a brilliant clarinetist, a Curtis Institute of Music alumni, educator, lecturer, and core member of the Pacific Symphony, and also part of the Synergy Trio. He has been personally invited by Maestro Myung-Whun Chung to perform as principal clarinetist for the Seoul Philharmonic and has had summer residencies in Vale Bravo Music Festival, Saratoga Performing Arts Center, Edinburgh International Festival, and BBC Proms with Philadelphia Orchestra. He has given back to the community through the Class Act program through the Pacific Symphony and has continued to nurture his own students. Several of his pupils have been accepted to many prestigious schools such as Curtis Institute of Music, the Juilliard School, and USC. I am delighted to present the incredibly dedicated and talented clarinetist who also happens to be my cousin, David Chang. Welcome, David Oppa. It is absolutely wonderful to have you here today.
Thank you very much. It's good to see you again. It's been a while, and it's good to be on your show. Thank you. Thanks for inviting.
I wanted to start off with your origin story and how you got to where you are today musically.
My mom had me started on the piano when I was about 4 or 5, and it was at my kindergarten after school kind of program. I started on that, and I was fortunate enough to attend the elementary school where they had music programs. And so I played some recorder there with my friends and some accordion at school as well. And one day my dad said, you want to try the clarinet? And I said, okay, why not? And, I started the clarinet around when I was in 3rd grade, right? So I started on the clarinet band, and my school also had a small ensemble programs, like small band and a small orchestra. So early on in my life, I had an opportunity to join these groups and started to play in groups with my colleagues, my friends, and that's how I started. And I got more serious on the clarinet. And I entered few competitions in Korea, and kind of had fun. And we moved here in 1989, and I got more serious about the clarinet. And I attended Idlewild Arts and also Colburn School of Performing Arts, and that really helped me to get serious with the music, and it helped me to meet my new amazing teachers. And that's how I learned to play in an ensemble much better, and surrounded myself with really talented musicians. And it opened up a lot of opportunities for me. And that actually helped me to get into Curtis. And that really helped me to get more ideas to be better, how to be a better musician, performer. And just from there, took auditions, and I had some opportunities to sub with amazing orchestras like Philadelphia Orchestra, Pittsburgh Symphony, and National Symphony of Washington, D.C. And, I took the audition here, and I'm here today, just playing with the Pacific Symphony. And I'm very fortunate to be playing with this group, and I'm having a good time here. Yeah, that's where I am right now. So yeah, that's it.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And I believe you had a discussion with me about how Pacific Symphony just got back to performing recently.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. How has that been like?
Well, we are still at a very cautious and careful stage of bringing everybody together. Obviously, we have strings a little bit reduced, We don't have everybody in the string section yet. And winds, we are having a reduced version of winds as well, and brass. Winds are actually, we're playing in a plexiglass kind of small cubicle, plexiglass. And, we don't have an audience yet, obviously. And we are recording every concert for online purposes for our patrons. And it's been fun. It's quite different from having audience in there, from a live concert. But it actually gives us more time to listen to each other carefully, because it's a recording, and we want to play better, because it's not a live concert, and it actually puts quite a bit of a pressure on myself, actually, to knowing that you have to be good in a recording. So it's been a different kind of atmosphere, but it's been really challenging. But I'm just glad that we are back to playing together as a group. So I'm very happy to be back, just playing. Yeah.
I was also wondering, how has your education experiences prepared you for the current roles you lead today?
My education, when I was attending Idlewild Arts, I was an 8th grader. I was very young, and I was surrounded by people, friends who are from Taiwan and China. Amazingly talented people. And just playing with them, and playing in an orchestra with them, and playing in like wooden quintets and small chamber groups, that helped me a lot to get better, because they were so talented and they were amazing musicians that I just wanted to be as good as them, and that really pushed me to practice harder. And just listening to those talented people around me made me realize what I have to do, or how I should sound like. And that really motivated me and inspired me to be a better musician. And I also had a great teacher, Ihuda Gilad. He's a teacher at USC and Colburn. He taught me a lot, and to be a good clarinet player and also to be a good musician. So in those combinations made me who I am, and that made me a good musician, or professional musician, I guess.
Yeah, you must have had a lot of great teachers in your life, and that always helps to have someone that as nurturing. Speaking of other experiences, what were your most notable performances?
I have quite a few of them. When I was at Curtis, one of the most exciting moments for me at Curtis was to perform at Musikverein in Vienna with Andrea Previn conducting and Anne-Sophie Mutter playing the violin. And we played Penderecki concerto for the violin, and the composer showed up, and he was sitting on the front row. And that was, for me, one of the most memorable moments as a musician, just to have a chance to play in that hall and play with those musicians. And another moment at Curtis was to play at the Verbier Festival in Switzerland. That was a lot of fun, because when you go up on those mountains, everywhere you look, it's a postcard. It's amazing scenery. Making beautiful music up there was amazing. And my recent memory of a memorable concert is a few years ago at Pacific Symphony. We had Yo-Yo Ma. He came here, did a Dvorak concerto. That was an unbelievable moment for me, because growing up as a kid, I listened to a lot of CDs of Yo-Yo Ma, because back then, I don't know if you remember, but do you know Columbia House? It was like a CD club.
Oh, yes, I remember.
Yeah, remember? Yeah. So I was in that club, and every month you choose you get to have a CD for some cheaper price, right? And Yo-Yo Ma happened to be a Columbia CBS artist, so they had a lot of CDs of him. And yeah, so I grew up listening to him a lot, and and as an Asian person, that was really inspiring and motivating. And having him on the same stage, it was amazing. Plus, I share same birthday as Yo-Yo Ma,
Oh,
so it
no
was
way.
yeah. So that was like most exciting moment, and having Carl lead us on the podium, it was very special. It was something I will never forget.
That's amazing, and what an honor it is to have played with Yo-Yo Ma, because I remember scoring tickets for the Montreal Symphony Orchestra back when I was undergrad, and I had to choose one of my friends, and they were all dying to go with me.
I know.
And he played the Dvorak at that time too, so spectacular. Wow, that must have been a great experience, just phenomenal, especially to play so close to him.
Oh yeah. It was amazing. Yes.
So, speaking of your other roles, let's talk about your experience as a lecturer and educator. What is it like, and what are your current roles?
Currently, I teach all ages. I have students all the way from second grade to college students. And I teach at a few colleges, local colleges. And I have quite a few high school students. And my role for me is to help them play the clarinet better and learn the repertoire necessary for them. With the high school students here, they're focused on getting into youth orchestras, taking auditions for like all state, all southern, and those groups, and small competitions here and there. So for me, it's just to help them or motivate them to practice and just to get them better, producing better sound, because these kids today are very busy with schoolwork, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and they barely have any time to practice. And as a teacher here, I have to understand that, and I have to, still help them to practice. And sometimes they don't really have time to practice. So sometimes I help them practice together. And, I share my experiences about my teachers and what my teachers told me and what their teachers told me, so it's just as a, at the same time, I'm helping them to try to be better. And at the same time, also, I'm just trying to pass down what I learned. And, and that's what I felt when I went to college. I felt like they were just passing it on to me. So I'm just trying to do the same. Yeah.
That's wonderful. Sounds like you're giving back, especially since you've experienced the same sort of phenomenon, that you're really giving back to the community through your students and through your performances, and that's absolutely wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. So, being in the position of both student and teacher, how should we approach teaching and educating others? Being
a student, I think it's important to learn the repertoire and just to decide what you want to do, and it's also very important not for me, but to always think about what the listeners would think about, how listeners would think about my sound and my musicianship, and not just to copy other people. Copying, I think, is good, but to make it to your character, make it your music, your own music, and having a confidence about it, I think that's very big as a student who's learning and who's trying to get better. As a teacher, I'm trying to just pass down what I learned, just try to help them to have a good tool to express themselves, and just giving them tools to, make a good phrasing, make a good sound. So a lot of times as an educator, I talk about things that doesn't really have something to do with music, but as a clarinet player, just to put the air better in certain spots and how to make a good embouchure, how to hold the clarinet better. Just a lot of things that actually happens before the sound happens. I talk a lot about those things so that you can prepare them to start better and and start with good sound. And because with musicality and those things, everybody has different opinions. Everybody has different mindset, and they have particular sound they hear in their own heads. So my job as a teacher, I guess, is to help them achieve what they are thinking up in their heads, and just to try to have that come out of the clarinet much better. I'm just a helper, so yeah, I'm just trying to be a helper as a teacher.
So you're trying to basically produce the best individual that they can be as musicians in their own personal way, and trying to help them discover their identity in that sort of manner. That's wonderful. That's a philosophy most teachers should go by, and I absolutely agree with you. So thank you for sharing that. So what is it like to have multiple roles as a core orchestral member and chamber musician, and how do you prepare for these concerts?
Preparing for concerts, we have to spend time just to practice them, right? Practice the music just as you prepare an audition or for a lesson. For me, to prepare an orchestra music, I kind of have to know what's going on around me. So a lot of music I buy a score.
Okay.
Yeah, and I study what's going on around me, and especially people around me, like the clarinets and bassoons and woodwinds, especially. Just study what's going on, so that I can, be a more soloistic player, or sometimes not. Sometimes just to accommodate my colleagues much better in terms of dynamics, intonation, just to fit right in the chords, and just to study the tempos, changing tempos. Sometimes it depends on the conductor too. So just study that, and just to be prepared for those moments. Same thing with the chamber music. Chamber music, you have more freedom, So the chamber music, we talk more, talk to each other more, because you can, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Because at the chamber music, you can do much more, because with my trio, you are likely to be a solo playing much more often than you're playing in an orchestra. So you have to be more soloistic, more outgoing in a chamber concert, and that's what I do, just to prepare for those moments. How to just to prepare so that we can present the music better to the audience.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What would you tell young artists who are like-minded and striving to be like you or pursue a similar career path to yours?
Well, when I was younger, my teachers encouraged me to go to Tower Records, get recordings, listen to many recordings, listen to many concerts, go to a lot of concerts. And but these days, you can do that at home, through internet. You can go to YouTube, watch a lot of artists there, and you can watch pretty much so many concerts through even Berlin Philharmonic offers those archives. Amazing.
Yes.
A lot of music, and not just Berlin Philharmonic, but a lot of other orchestras offer that kind of program, that kind of videos, music. So I think these days they're very fortunate to have the kind of access to a lot of music, a lot of performances. So I just encourage kids to listen to a lot of music and try to play different repertoires, different music, just do this and do that, a lot of that, because for me, it's important that students get more playing time, just like pilots getting a lot of flying time to get more experience, not necessarily because it's so hard and dangerous, but just to get more experience so that, when you're on the stage, you only think about music and you can present the music better for the audience. That's what I encourage students to do, just to play more. It doesn't have to be classical music sometimes, you can play all kinds of music, just play more and surround yourself with like-minded people at school. So I encourage them to play in bands and orchestras as much as possible, just to get more playing time and just to get to know how to play better with people. So I encourage them to play with a lot of groups as well. And I think that's very, very important.
Absolutely. Groups actually also, is a good way of building team character and team spirit, and also, respecting your peers and colleagues. I think that's a really important lesson in our education system that we need to really implement.
Oh, yeah.
What are your thoughts on the classical music scene today, and what measures can we take to sustain the arts?
It's a very good question. Even before the pandemic, the popularity of classical music was declining a little bit.
Yeah.
And after the pandemic, I think it's got even worse. What can we do from here? It's a very good question, because people are still scared to come outside. Some people are, and some people are still scared to, have a big gatherings. So, in my opinion, I think it'll take some time for people to feel more comfortable to come out to the halls and more confident to come out and to, actually come to the concerts. But I think hopefully after, many people get vaccinated, I think it'll get much better, faster.
Yeah.
Because back in 1918, was it the Spanish flu? Supposedly it took like a few years to get back to normal.
Yes.
So I don't think it'll take a few years these days, but I'm sure it'll take some time to get people to, lose the fear of coming out. So I think it'll take some time, and I think it'll eventually get to the level of before pandemic. But a lot of orchestras have already gotten damaged from this pandemic, and many groups are struggling. Many people are not getting paid. It's a very tough situation. Even some of the big orchestras are having tough times. So I think time can only tell. Only time will tell what's gonna happen. But as a musician, we are just trying to get as much playing time as we can, and much playing time so that we can get to the audience better. But I think supposedly in California things will start to open up in June. So we'll see what happens. I hope that we'll have more live audiences. Our orchestra, the managements are doing whatever they can to get to the audience. So I think we'll have to wait a little bit and see what happens. I think it's gonna be interesting. Hopefully more people will come to the concerts. Yeah, so let's wait and see what happens. Yeah.
And I would say a way that we can, sustain the arts is to support even the live streams at the moment that's going on, because I think that's incredibly significant. And live streams aren't actually as bad as I thought they would be.
I know. It was weird at first, but people are getting used to it. People are getting used to the sound through internet, through online. I mean, it's not the best, but it's not bad. It's not bad. It's much better than I thought. Yeah, it's much better than I
I
thought.
mean, it gives you more of an opportunity to see orchestras in Europe, orchestras in all over the world, and chamber music concerts. It's just absolutely, fantastic to have.
Yeah, absolutely.
Room and necessary, especially since we're all sort of, locked down in our own residence or work and.
Yeah. Yeah, as you said, the chamber music, I think, kind of works really well with the online services. So, yeah, I think small groups, I think it's better. Large groups, I think it's a little more challenging. But as you said, chamber music is a little bit more suitable for the online, for now. Yeah.
For sure. Speaking of performances, what are your proudest accomplishments?
My proudest accomplishments. Just many concerts I've been very proud of. Accomplishments. Let's see. Just having opportunities to play with major symphonies in America, that made me really proud. And that gave me a lot of chills to play with, especially with the Philadelphia Orchestra, going on tours in Europe, Asia. One of my, biggest, proudest moment was to perform in Korea with Philadelphia Orchestra. We played Rite of Spring, and audience was great. We had a good concert, and it made me proud to see my former student come up to the backstage, and I was really happy about that. I mean, that was most memorable moments. Yeah, that was nice.
Wow, I hope to be able to see Pacific Symphony one day after the pandemic, hopefully, or shortly after. And, I would love to see you perform there and hear you live.
Yes.
Speaking of other success, what is your regimen in successfully preparing for auditions?
I had different teachers tell me different things about auditions. Auditions can be really a little bit tricky. There are many factors go into having a successful audition, in my opinion. First of all, you have to prepare your music so well that you can't really mess up at any moment, But also understanding what kind of style the orchestra plays, that particular orchestra you're about to audition. For me, what kind of sound the clarinet players prefer in that orchestra. To me, that matters a lot. And during the audition, I've been both, the other side of the audition. I've been taking auditions, and I've been also listening to the auditions behind the curtain. And when you're behind curtain, there are few people, at least few people, and everybody has different opinions. Some people care about intonation,
yes,
and some people care more about rhythm. Some people care more about sound quality, and some people care more about character or musicianship. So but in an audition, you have to satisfy all those people, yes, right? Because if you don't get at least half of the votes, you're not going to advance, right? Mm-hmm. So you have to keep in mind that you have to satisfy all those people. And, most important thing is for me is a rhythm, good rhythm, steadiness, and, also good intonation. Those three things, if you can do those three things well, I think you can have a pretty good audition. And after that, when you advance to semifinals and finals, you tend to play concertos, So after that, when you're playing concerto, you have to be more soloistic, more character. Yeah, so all those things are important. But, in the beginning stages, rhythm, steadiness, good sound, I think that's very important. Absolutely.
Those are all really great suggestions. And, you're absolutely right. You hit it right on the nail. Is there a particular concerto that you auditioned with when you did audition?
For clarinet, it's almost always a Mozart concerto at the
Okay.
finals. Yeah, almost always. And Mozart concerto, it's a very simple piece, very beautiful, and just playing 1.5 pages of it, you can tell a lot about the player, a lot about the musicality, a lot about the phrasing and sound quality. So yeah, I think it's a popular concerto, not just because it's a masterpiece, but and also because you can tell a lot about the player.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's also one of my favorite concertos. I love the second movement. It happens to be one of my favorite Mozart concertos because of the second movement.
Yeah. It's very beautiful. Yeah.
It is, and Mozart wrote so many chamber music pieces for different types of ensembles.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think there was one with it was the clarinet quintet.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing piece.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I understand that Pacific Symphony conducts auditions from the beginning to the end. What are your thoughts on that?
As a person who took auditions and also happened to be behind the curtain, I think the curtain keeps everything very honest.
Yes.
And when you're behind the curtain listening to a candidate, you only concentrate on the sound,
Absolutely.
and you only concentrate on that person's music and musicality. So it makes me focus on music better. So for me, I like it a lot because it should be about music, and it should be about person's ability to make music. So I'm all for it behind the curtain, and it's been working really well for us because we do the whole thing behind the screen. Absolutely. And and I think it keeps it really fair. I think quite a few orchestras do it, and there are good things and bad things about it maybe, but I like it. I like it in general, and I think it keeps us to bring a lot of good new talents as well. So I think it's been good for us.
That's awesome. I believe that should be implemented more too, because it shouldn't be based on the appearance of the person, but rather just the music. And sometimes by round, I think, semifinals and the finals, it doesn't seem incredibly honest by the end of it. And
so I understand why they do it, because without the curtain, they want to see how this person performs with the audience too. You know what I mean? So there's a good things about it, but for me, keeping it behind the curtain is a little bit more honest and gives us much honest opinion about the musician. So yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It keeps it real, and you don't really base it on anything except just the music. So I think eliminates that bias factor. With the way of the world today as musicians, how can we bring in cultural diversity and openness to society?
That's a very good question, because I look at it as as a soccer, as like a sports team. When you want to improve your the sports, particular sports, let's say soccer, okay, what do you do to improve the level of the soccer? You improve the youth system. You have little league, like the baseball. You have the little league. Have invest money in that and have kids playing that. And same thing in music. We must have more younger kids start on the instruments. Are they all gonna turn out great? No, absolutely not. But it gives little kids chance to realize what their talents are. Because unless you do some kind of playing on the instrument, you don't know if you're talented or not, you know?
Absolutely.
So for me, I think it's very important to have, better music programs at schools, especially where the income levels are a little bit lower. I mean, schools are run by property taxing, right?
Yes.
So, a little bit poorer neighborhoods will have less opportunities,
Absolutely.
Yeah, for me, that's very unfortunate. So I think we have to find a way to fund those schools a little bit better so that we can find talents. We can find people who can fall in love with music, find kids who will be inspired to play music, whatever they find to be, whatever it is, violin, piano, clarinet, whatever, So it's important that we keep the young people just to start it on the instruments and see what happens. And see if they're talented and see if they want to pursue music from there. So I think having a youth program, young kids play as much as they can, I think that's vital for the classical music scene or any kind of music.
Absolutely. And like you said, it really sustains the future of classical music by giving these opportunities to everyone, and equal opportunities creates more, opportunities for artists to appear. And like you said, which was well said, new talent to appear. So speaking of hobbies, how has the pandemic affected you, and were there any hobbies you enjoyed during this time?
My hobbies are, collecting records, LP records, as you can see back there. I have some records.
Wow, that's a massive library.
Yeah. And
I'll know who to borrow records from next time I see you.
Yeah. And I grow some orchids.
Oh yes.
Yeah. So during the pandemic, I had a lot of time to clean my records and listen to them, and it's been good. It's been nice. I've been listening quite a bit of jazz and some chamber music and some of the records that I never listened before. So it was a good experience for me, just to relax. And of course, it gave me a little bit more time to practice as well, but just to listen to records and just to listen to how people played music back then.
Yeah.
It's very nice. And I have a lot of 78s, really old records.
Oh.
Yeah, that you play on a talking machine. That you hand wind it, and
wow, that must.
Yeah.
That's
and
interesting.
Yeah. And I've been listening some of that, and those back in the days, they're amazing musicians. We forget. I mean, just because we live in such a technology advanced world today, we forget how good they were.
Absolutely.
And, and how amazing they were. And we forget that it was just passed down from those masters. So, just to listen to those people on those records it's amazing, and to hear a little bit slightly different styles of back then, it's fun. It's been fun.
Absolutely. That must be super inspiring, just to listen to records all day.
Yeah, it's fun.
That your orchestra sounds very therapeutic.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Particular records that are your favorite or your go-to?
As a collector of records, I don't play them so much. The ones I really like, I don't play them so much because, they wear out.
That is true.
The ones I really like are mostly violin, LPs or records. I like to listen to Heifetz, Milstein's nice to listen to. Some of the Bach cello suites, those are very nice to listen to. And some jazz records are very nice to listen to, but they're pretty rare, and they can be pricey.
Also eBay, but you're never always too sure what kind of record you're going to get.
Yeah. What was it again?
eBay?
Yeah, I use eBay.
Yeah.
I use eBay sometimes to buy something I don't have, and but it's tricky because it depends on the condition. It has to be in good condition. Otherwise, you're gonna get a little bit disappointed because with the records, unless it's really clean,
Yeah.
you're gonna hear a lot of noises like and crackles. Yeah. So yeah, that's the tough part. And records in good conditions, they can be a little bit pricey. So
Moving on, I was wondering if you can tell me about your recent and upcoming projects.
my recent project, during the pandemic, I was thinking, how long can I do this as a performing clarinet player? And so I started thinking about composing music a little bit. I haven't really started yet, but I have written down some melodies here and there whenever it comes to me, and I've been recording some melodies, through on my iPhone whenever I can. Yeah, I want to start writing music for clarinet because I know the clarinet pretty well, and I want to write an etude because most of the etude we are playing are quite not a little bit old. They're at least 100 years old. A lot of them. It's great music. But players these days are interested in different kind of technique, different kind of tonguing, different kind of melody. So I just want to start by writing some etude, possibly small pieces for clarinet and piano, and some other solo instruments, small pieces. I want to start from there and see what happens, and something a little bit jazzy, because I like to listen to jazz. So that's my project, and that's something I want to do in the future, writing music a little bit. Yeah.
That's amazing. Wow. I think that would be a great addition, especially since there's not a lot of pedagogical books out there for your instrument specifically. And it seems like that would be great to practice extended performance practice techniques.
Yeah, and just playing etude, it doesn't have to be boring, it doesn't have to be so systematic. So I just want to write etude that are a little bit more fun and a little bit more approachable, something etude, but something you can perform as well. So that's my goal.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Wow. I look forward to seeing that project blossom, and I wish you the best of luck, and I'm sure you'll do very well with that. So
thank you
for sharing that. What does it mean personally to be a Korean American?
In the States, I came here at 1989, December of 1989. Things were very different back then. And also, when I came here, I didn't speak much English,
Yes.
So being a Korean American, it always meant working hard,
Yeah.
As most Koreans do, it was working hard, going to good schools, and working hard again. But when I see Koreans here, I just want to tell them, work hard, but, have fun and enjoy yourselves, because, working hard is good, but, at the same time, you gotta have fun.
Yeah.
And you gotta enjoy your life. I enjoyed my life, but I think I worked hard, and absolutely. I could have. I just want to tell younger Korean kids to enjoy their lives a little more because, man, they work hard, you know. You know, I teach quite a few high school kids. Oh man, they're working so hard. They're working so hard to go to good colleges, you know, and I just want to tell them, take it easy just a little bit so that they don't burn out, you know?
Yes.
Yeah, I just don't want them to burn out because you know, it's a marathon. Your life is a marathon. You have a long way to go. It's just a start.
Yes.
And yeah, don't waste all your gas in that first corner. You know, so that's always I tell my students: take it easy a little bit, have fun.
That's great advice, especially for youth and in the world we live in right now.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. And my final question for you is, how would you spend Asian Heritage Month?
You know, it makes no difference for me. Any other month. For me, you know, when you see this bad news about Asian people and other people, I think, you know, those are only fractions of millions of people that are causing bad news. So, you know, for me, I see only nice people around me, and I try to be as nice to them as they're nice to me. And as Asian person, you know, I think we have to respect others. That's how I was taught, you know,
Yes.
and as most Koreans are taught. We are taught that something you give, you will get back, you know. So I only try. What we can try is to be respectful to others, and hopefully they'll give us respect back, you know. And that's my approach. And you know, Asian Heritage Month is very important to have pride, but at the same time, it's important to give others more respect, and you know, and you know, more give them more, you know. For me, just one more smile at a day, I think that makes more difference.
Yes.
And no matter how tired you are, no matter no matter how, you know, no matter what kind of mood you are in, just it's hard for me. I'm not good at it, but that's you know, that's my goal, to just give one or two smiles more to other people or my colleagues. I'm terrible at it, but I try, and you know, it makes me feel better, and you know, immediately you get more smiles back, you know. So you know, as Asian person or whatever person you are, I think just do that. I think that makes huge difference, especially these days when people are afraid to come out, and when people are not sure about you, you know, people are not sure if you're sick or you know, and people can't really see your face with masks.
Yes.
You know, so yeah. So I just try to do more of smiling, and you know, I think that's what we can do to make people around you feel better. And you know, I think eventually you'll get that respect back to you. And you know, I try to ignore those bad news, because you know, it doesn't help us to be angry.
Absolutely.
You know, and you know, people who attack those people, they're just one out of millions. So you know, just try to block out those bad news and just try to be good to other people. And I think as a community, I think, you know, I think it'll help everybody, hopefully.
Positive and be happy and smile and try to stay calm in these awful situations, even though it can be negative, right?
Oh yeah.
That speaks volumes to your character, and I'm very happy that you shared that, especially since in the world we live in today.
Yeah.
Yes. So thank you so much, David Opa, for joining us today and sharing your
Thank you.
story. It means a lot, and it was an absolute joy to have you here today. For those of you watching, thanks for tuning in. After this, there will be a wonderful performance of David, and you will not want to miss it. So please enjoy. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Please also practice safe social distancing so that we may be able to go to concerts and hear wonderful musicians like David. In the meantime, be well. Bye.